went in to meet.
Yeah.
And so I'd met with the casting director, and I had a meeting with Tom Hanks.
Wow.
And I was still new and green and nervous, and that was a weird audition process because they weren't really giving you a lot. They were like they just wanted to meet you, and see who you were, to see if you fit in, because because there was going to be so much. They didn't have a lot of time to, especially all those smaller characters. They didn't have a lot of time to give them a lot of direction, so they wanted to kind of find the right guys and just let them be there with each other. But that was uncomfortable for me as an actor who came from theater, where I wasn't trying to be myself. I was always trying to be a character. I wasn't ready for that type of meeting yet.
Yeah.
So I was a little flustered, and I go to the meeting, and I'm just sitting in this room waiting. They told me, okay, go in here, and Mr. Hanks will be in a minute. So I'm just sitting in this room, and Tom Hanks walks in, like just breezes in, like almost Kramerish, like opens the door, and he's like, Kevy, Kev. and I was like, I said, Tommy, Tom. and it went down from there. It wasn't my best meeting. But I was a little that was one of the few times I've been starstruck, because he's such an amazing actor, and he's such a strong, big personality that and especially as a young green actor who really needed a script to play off of, as opposed to walking in and being myself at the time. Yeah. I was really genuinely thrown, and I obviously did not work on that show.
Yeah, well, that's a shame. It was a cracking show, but that's an awesome story to meet someone like Tom Hanks. It's just, he's
recently I got to meet Joe Pesci.
All right.
And that and like have conversations with him, and that was I was at this place, and I'm sitting by myself, and he came and sat down, and it was just the two of us in this room, and I had dinner plans with someone. Yeah. And he started talking to me about Mad Men. And I just, under the table, texted my friend and said, I'm not going to make it. I'll call you later, because I'm not leaving this room. Yeah. Like I'm not getting up until he does. Like this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm going to take advantage.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't think your friend would ever blamed you.
No. I did not get in trouble. Yeah.
that's another pretty awesome story. I mean, they're two amazing actors. I think Tom Hanks is in my top 5 of all-time favourites. I mean, to me, he's probably got that sort of. You look back at the. I can't think of any now. The classic actors, and he's. I mean, I've followed him my entire life as well. So watching him in Big, and then Band of Brothers really turned the corner with seriousness. I've actually got I've met Shane Taylor, who played Doc Rowe.
Oh wow!
From Band of Brothers, back last year, I think it was. I chatted with him. He's a lovely chap as well. But there's such a humility about that show itself and being on air. They've just been to Bastogne as well. They did a 70th anniversary of Bastogne last December. I was supposed to go over there, but a few little job issues at the time meant that couldn't afford to get over there. But that looked like they still meet all this time after filming. They still get together, which is pretty cool.
Well, they had quite an amazing experience on that show. I mean, those guys run into like a mini boot camp, and then they spent months and months and months, just there together with lots of down.
Yeah, that's what I loved about, because when they had that episode Replacements as well, the guys who were the replacements, they didn't do the boat. They deliberately didn't do the boot camp. They made them not do the boot camp with everybody else, so that when they came in as replacements, they could actually have that resentment, the real true resentment, because everyone else is like, well, who the hell are you? You didn't come, you didn't train with us.
You didn't go through what we went through.
Exactly. So, that's a realism effect of don't get many like that. Definitely. Cool. Moving on to your questions about you again, is Gabby Nunez, I think that's her Twitter name as well, is how do you begin to develop a character?
Well, hi Gabby. It for me, it's always the script. I mean, coming from the theater, having been trained there, that's where I started. It's the writer is the god. The writer is the boss, and so it's always my thing is always I always read the script multiple times, and the first one I want to hear the story, and then I read from my character's point of view, and then I read it to everyone else's point of view of the character. Yeah, and I take as much of that information as I can, and that's how it starts. And then for me, So it all comes from the script. It's all there. And then I try to make it as personal as I can to me, and then bring some kind of humanity to it. That's my basic.
Okay. Fair enough. It's a good way. Nice way to.
It works so far.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're starring on a hit TV show, so it's got to work. So.
It worked on this one.
Yeah. She's also asking. This is an kind of an off-the-wally one. The octopus that you ate in CSI New York.
Yes.
Was that false, or was it another person who actually ate it?
So they had. Have you seen that episode?
I think I have, probably a while ago.
It was CSI New York, and I played a sushi chef, a sushi restaurant, and I killed a girl by force feeding her a live octopus.
Yeah.
Because that's evidently that's a thing. You have these mini, tiny little octopi. I don't know if that's right. And you capture them alive, and you wrap them in a certain way on a chopstick that allows you to swallow them. But if you don't wrap them correctly, when they get to the back of your throat, they open up and they suffocate. Right. Yeah. So, which to me doesn't sound interesting at all to me to try that.
No, it's like blowfish as well.
I don't have that kind of death wish. So I don't remember if I ate one, but I know I had to put one in my scene partner's mouth. And they had real live ones, they had real dead ones, and then they had ones that were fake.
Yeah.
And they smelled so bad. It was so horrible. And they would wrap I pull a live one out of the tank.
Yeah.
And one shot, and then they had me fake wrap a fake one, and they had one pre-wrapped. And so it was a mixture of all of them. But I never put any of the real ones in my own mouth.
Right.
And I don't think they were paying me enough to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a risk you wouldn't really want to be taking.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, the hazard pay didn't. Yeah, there was no hazard pay. No.
There's realism, and then there's extra realism.
And then there's we don't need that.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't realise. Yeah, you're supposed to. Why do people? It's like there's is it a pufferfish as well?
Yes,
the venom from a pufferfish.
Yeah, where if you don't cut it correctly, it'll
poison you.
Like, how is that? I mean, it has to taste amazing.
Yeah.
Because just the risk of dying is not worth it to me to taste that. No,
not at all. But then,
right?
Yeah, I was just it doesn't even fathom or pass my brain.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, moving on. Last couple of people is Tonya, who is Lethal Weapon HQ, who's very active and has helped me a lot with tweeting out, etc. And I think she's very talkative with you guys on Twitter too.
Yes.
She says, can you share the story about you being a male cheerleader? She thinks it was when you were in high school.
It's true. So when I was in high school, I was very short my freshman year. And I went to an all-boys Catholic school, and I was ineligible to play sports the first year. I could be on the team, but I couldn't play in the games.
Yeah.
And so I was on the football team for like 2 weeks, and then I realized maybe even a week for practice getting my butt handed to me every day because I was 5'2". And they told me I couldn't play, and I was like, well, I'm not going to get my ass kicked for the whole season to not play. So I quit the team, and then my junior year, a buddy of mine, the year before our cheerleader, we had the only co-ed team in the city, and they had won nationals the year before.
Yeah.
And so they were kind of a big deal. And then a buddy of mine said, hey, I'm going to try out for the cheerleaders. You should do it with me. And I thought, okay, so I can either go do 2-a-days during the summer, or I can go to cheerleading camp with 800 girls and 10 guys. And then my practice is with the pretty cheerleaders, and then every other cheerleader in the city is going to want to do stunts with us. Which one am I going to pick? And so I became a cheerleader.
Fair enough. I was going to say that's a pretty hard choice.
So it's funny. My cheerleading partner that year, her name was Leah Hudson. That's now Leah Tita, and her husband's military, and they live in Hawaii. And I went, and my wife and daughter and I went to Hawaii and stayed next to them for a week this last summer.
Oh, lovely.
She and I still to this day joke we were definitely the weak links.
Yeah,
like we had people who could do crazy stunts and flips, and they'd hold the girls with one hand over their head. Leah and I could barely do back handsprings. Like we were definitely. They would put us in the corner.
Right. Yeah.
We're not the strong cheerleaders on that team. And I'm at their house, and they have a trampoline in Hawaii. And as a joke, I tried to do what is called a double 9, and it's when you pretty much your arm makes a 9 and your legs make a 9 in the air,
Right. Okay.
And I jump on the trampoline and tried to do it, and knee hit the elbow, and I almost went off the trampoline and broke. And I was like, okay, no more. I'm not even going to try as a joke to do this. As a 40-something-year-old, this is not a good idea. And I didn't even stretch. I was like, I can do that. I can still do that. No, I can't.
Yeah.
I could barely do it then. I still can't do it.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I took up wrestling at the age of 38. Pro wrestling.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I did it for 2 years.
Like mask, like pro wrestling mask and tights, or like
yeah, with the tights. I had white and blue zebra pattern tights. My character was Camp, the Fabulous Flash.
Really?
Yeah, I only did, really, to be fair, I only did training, and I could do a couple of 1-2 matches in the rookie show, tag team, singles.
Yeah.
And it was great, but I went out the same way. I was like, it was hurting, because obviously slamming, you've got to be athletic. I mean, all these people who say it's fake,
those guys
do it,
I mean,
train.
Look The Rock. I mean, he's a big man.
Exactly, so all those people who do say it's fake, go and do it for 4 hours on a Saturday afternoon. You'll find it hurts. But yes. I ended up similar. I sort of fell out the ring. When one person ducks, the other person jumps. I ducked, I got up, tripped, went through the ropes, head first. I managed to put my hands out, but my leg caught the brunt of the big thick plywood under the ring, and then the metal. And I've actually got a permanent dent. This is 2 years on now, and I've still got a dent in my leg and a bruise because I lost the quad muscle, just retracted. I lost the use of it. And so it was a time when I thought, you know what, you're nearing 40. This is not really the thing you want to be doing.
Yeah, especially if you haven't been doing it.
Exactly.
No. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you were smart enough to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy who broke his neck in the ring, but he'd been 15 years. He broke his neck in the ring, and then a year later, he's back in there again. But I was thinking, well, he's trained for 15 years. I'd done it for 2 to lose weight, and
yeah,
I had a golf ball in my neck once because that V muscle, I caught a tear in there, and the blood went in. So it had a golf ball size, and it was horrible. That was about a week into it.
And I'm glad you pressed through after that. But I think you did the right thing by hanging up your boots.
Yeah, I think it was probably wisest for everyone's sake. I love my family, so
good, smart man.
Yeah,
smart man.
Don't want to be ended up some severe zany wrestling accident. But no, it's like, that trampoline thing just brought that back to me then.
Jonathan, by the way, was a real cheerleader.
Well,
he did it in college at Penn State.
Oh God.
And he was the real deal. So talk to him about that when you talk to him. I was a high school, cheerleader. He was the real deal in college.
Oh God, I'll have to ask him about that then. Definitely. Excellent. And moving on to the last 2 questions. Again, this is from the people who sent them in. Is Clane Crawford Italy, which is their Twitter account.
Yep.
What's the best concert you've been to?
Oh, well, I think the best one I went to was. Ooh, that's tough. The 2 that stand out. The first concert I ever saw, I don't even know how old I was. I was young. I was like 12 or 14. I saw Kansas open for Heart, and that was an amazing experience because it was my first live concert and it was so loud. And, that was a powerful one. I think one of my favorites. I saw Beck play country music at the Wiltern. That was unexpected. I didn't really know Beck at the time.
Yeah.
It was. I knew his popular stuff, but I didn't know how much of a musician he was outside of that. That was an amazing concert. And then I saw U2 3 times.
Oh, nice.
Each one of those. That was my high school anthem. You Rattle and Hum and Joshua Tree were the things that I grew up. And my brother, who's 8 years younger than me, even more so because he was 8 years old when I was listening to. So that was implanted on him as well. But those were 3 of my favorites.
Awesome.
Those 3.
You're going to go and see him this year? Is it? They're doing the Joshua.
They're doing the
Joshua Tree.
I want to try. We're trying to figure out whether it's better to see him in San Francisco near where I live, or to see him here in LA.
Awesome.
I definitely want to see that.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty cool tour. I think the only concert I never went to, because I've never been to one, proper one.
You've never been to one?
No, I bought tickets. Me and my wife bought tickets back for Michael Jackson at the O2 in London, and we actually had tickets for that. And then obviously events took their turn, and sadly passed away. And it was had chance to go and see Meatloaf after that, but we thought, you know what, we're not going to risk it because if we buy tickets, something's going to happen to him.
It'll be your fault.
Exactly.
It'll be your fault.
Which is exactly what we thought. So,
the next musician we lose, I'm going to call you and see if you had tickets.